Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu salam ala rasulillah. Welcome back to day 3 of A to Z of emotional transformation. And today is confusion to clarity. And I'm here with Raisa Giwala, a long-term friend and peer of mine. Welcome, Raisa. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm so excited to be here. I love this topic, confusion to clarity. Let's get into it.
Yeah, because I think before we had this understanding, our lives were one long confusion. And we probably didn't even realize we were in confusion a lot of the time. We knew when we were very confused. But when you
Yeah.
find clarity, you realize just how much confusion life has been all along. Yeah. What are some of the symptoms that we experience that are from confusion?
Well, it's like this mental fog. It's just feeling overwhelmed, feeling this heaviness, this weight on you, this really busy mind, feeling also just not sure of yourself.
Mm.
And
Indecisive, right? Indecisive about
indecisive,
anything.
yes. Yeah.
Mm.
You're like, should I do this? Should I do that? You're like going back and forth between two options, two choices. How do I know which is going to be the right thing for me? If I do this, this will happen. If I do that, this will happen. It's like, it's just burnout too, like mental burnout.
And I think there's a lot of wanting other people to tell us what's the right thing to do. We don't want to make a decision ourselves because, we feel so unsure. So it's better to hand it over to someone else. That way, then we can blame them if it goes wrong.
Yeah, it's what we've been taught. Like, okay, go seek outside of yourself for the answer because that's where it'll be and that's who will have it. Who can help me? I used to be a pro at this. Who can help me with this? Who can tell me what to do? Who's going to have the answer for what I should be doing or what I need to be doing?
In fact, that's how our relationship began, isn't it? When I first was coaching you, a lot of it was around you just wanting me to tell you what's the right thing to do. You didn't want me to coach you to you discovering what's the right thing to do. You're just like, yeah, but what should I do in this situation? What should I do in that situation?
Yeah, confusion also goes hand in hand with not being connected to yourself, with being disconnected with yourself, to not being able to trust yourself, to not know even what that looks like. When you live life with disconnection for so long, you don't know how to trust yourself. You don't know where to look for your answers. So, and you don't realize that it's from the inside, it's not from the outside. So then, of course, you're not an expert on yourself. So somebody else must be, and you can get the answer there. And it's very disheartening because when you look to other people to give you the answer of what you need to do, usually you don't agree with them because usually you know what you need to do and you're seeking out alignment of that answer from other people. And you keep going to other people until someone agrees with you, which is already what you know you need to do. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And in doing that, you actually create more confusion, don't you? Because then there's that confusion. If you've asked somebody that's close to you who then expects you to take their advice, now you've added the layer of confusion of, well, I actually don't agree with that. And now I have to navigate, well, how do I not do that without upsetting them? And so we've added new confusion to the
How do I say no now to the answer that I went to go seek from this person?
Yeah. And then, of course, they're likely to be upset because it's like, well, you asked, but then you don't listen, or
Why did you ask me?
Why did you ask me in the first place?
Yeah, and it just goes to speak to whatever decision you take or you make, you need to feel good about it from yourself, because if you don't, your soul will start rejecting all the answers that you're getting from outside, and you won't feel good about it. It won't sit well with you. You'll be hesitant, you will be unsure, and you'll make mistakes, or things will turn out more messier actually.
So where does clarity actually come from?
Yeah, I love this question. Well, it comes from Allah, and it comes from our connection with Allah.
Mm,
And when we are connected to ourselves and Allah in those moments, the clarity is there. The clarity comes there. And even if you think, yeah, I am connected to myself, I am connected to Allah, but I'm still not in clarity. Well, it's okay, because the connection just may not be as strong as it needs to for you to hear or see from here, not from here, to see what Allah is trying to show you. Or maybe perhaps there's something you need to see or learn about yourself that Allah is making you wait in a holding period, in a waiting period, in a waiting room, if you will.
Yeah. Well, I've come to realize that sometimes, now that we have this understanding and we turn to Allah for our answers, which is pretty much what the Quran is telling us to do anyway, right? And so we're waiting for Allah to guide us in a matter, what's the right direction, and then that sense of knowing coming inside that this is the right direction. Now that we're, navigating life from that perspective, that sometimes it feels like we're in a state of confusion again. And it's not that we're disconnected from Allah, it's that Allah is not giving us the answer yet for a reason. Like maybe Allah knows that if He shows us too soon, we're going to rush off in that direction too soon, or we're going to miss something, or that there's something else that needs to happen first.
Yeah.
And so, we're not meant to
And
make
usually
that
it's a
decision
lesson. It's a
yet.
lesson or something you need to learn about yourself, because in the state that you currently are right now, you're not ready or able to navigate or handle that situation. But once you learn the lesson or what Allah's trying to teach you, then you're capable of handling that situation, and you can go in there with clarity and confidence and conviction, like you know what you're doing and why.
Yeah. So, what is life like now with clarity? Like we described what it was like with confusion. What's it like with clarity?
That's a wonderful question. It's being able to sit still. It's being able
Mm,
to be alone with myself and be okay, because sitting still is so difficult for so many people. We're like have to be busy, we have to constantly be moving and doing. It's more of a space of being, and being okay with uncomfortable feelings and not having to escape them or squash them down, or binge eat a tub of ice cream through them, which I used to do as well.
yes, I've done that too.
Yeah.
Got
So
the
it's like,
waistline to prove it.
oh, subhanAllah. It's really like trusting and knowing that Allah is with you, even when it doesn't feel, even when you're feeling disconnected, even if you're feeling far away, but Allah is with you and He's not going to abandon you. And what you need to know will come to you when you need to know it. It's sitting in that and pausing and just doing that, whatever grounding looks like for you to connect back to Allah and to yourself, and being patient, which is part of what Allah tells us in the Quran: patience, sabr, and prayer and salah. Those are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tools that He gives us to navigate challenges and hard times.
Mm. So what you're describing is basically tawakkul, right? Is that
Yes,
really
yes,
submitting to the qadr of Allah and accepting that everything is going to happen in Allah's time, the way that Allah decrees it, and that it's going to be okay because He'll never burden us with more than we can bear. And so from that space, we can feel comfortable in not knowing because we know Allah knows, so we don't need
yeah.
to know.
We can surrender.
Mm. And the interesting thing is we actually never do know. This is a family show, so family join us at any time.
She bent down to get something she can't get up. Oh, okay. Okay, I need to step away for 1 second.
No worries. I will continue to talk about
Okay.
tawakkul and feeling comfortable with not knowing. These things happen, and of course, when it's live, there's not much you can do about it. Alhamdulillah. So the interesting thing about not knowing is that we don't realize that we always don't know, that we never do know what's going to happen, but sometimes we get focused on not knowing certain things and then getting anxious and fearful and stressed and confused in how to navigate things moving forward because we don't know. But when you can see that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's best for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how much we can handle and is not going to give us more than we can handle. Then it's okay to not know. We can be in that not knowing and feel comfortable. Because quite a lot of the time, the uncomfortable feelings come from feeling like I need to know. I need to know what's going to happen next. I need to know what this person's thinking. I need to know, but we don't. Because if we are noticing, I'm going to use language like that, noticing how Allah is guiding us, Allah knows and He will guide us to what is best. And it won't just be what is best for us, it'll be what is best for everybody involved. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like you feel that, I call it like a certainty inside, a calm certainty inside that, yes, this is the direction this is meant to go. If you feel that calm certainty, then you can trust the fact that it's not just the right thing for you, it's going to be the right thing for everybody else involved in that situation. And that's what's so amazing and beautiful about it, because a lot of our confusion comes from trying to work out what's best for everybody. We don't have to do that. We hand that to Allah, and we just notice how Allah is guiding us in the situation, which is the best situation for everybody.
That sounds about right. We don't have to try to figure it out.
Yeah. And I think that's where the confusion leaves, isn't it? When we realize we don't have to figure it out. So we stop being in confusion. We might not have clarity, but we don't really go back to that heavy sense of confusion, do we?
Yeah, totally true.
And there are times when we get uncomfortable with not knowing too, even with understanding this, and sometimes get impatient and sometimes want to push to know. Like the little person that keeps wanting to have your attention.
I had a little emergency, so I'm gonna have to hop off in a little bit. I have to take care of something. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yeah, even in that not knowing, Allah is stretching us to see how long we can stay in that discomfort of not knowing and trust Him.
Yeah.
And trust Him, because it's like there is no certainty about anything except one thing. That's Allah. That's it. And we keep coming back to that, in those moments of anguish, discomfort, fear, unknown. That's you keep coming back to. And it's like sometimes it gets so bad that you're like, oh, just give me some relief, Allah. And He does send it when you need it, He knows how much and how far He can stretch you without breaking you.
And He's only stretching and squeezing us so that we can learn the lessons, so that we can be a better version of ourselves. So every stretch and squeeze we go through is taking us to the next level.
That's right.
Alhamdulillah. How beautiful is that? So confusion to clarity. The difference is, I guess, where we're looking for the answers. If we're looking to Allah for the answers, you have clarity. If you're looking elsewhere, you have confusion. It really is that simple, isn't it?
That's it. Very simple.
Boom.
Nothing else left to say.
No, alhamdulillah. So you need to go. So jazakallah khair, Raisa, for being with me today. Feel free to exit, and I'll wrap up the session for everybody. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.